Hi, I'm Hilary.
And I'm Dana, and we are the therapist dietitian team that created a body trust approach to healing from the effects of living in a weight-obsessed world. We started working together 13 years ago after becoming disillusioned with the dominant weight paradigm. And we saw an urgent need to have a different conversation with people about their bodies, their health, their weight, and their well-being.
We stand before you as cisgendered, currently able-bodied white women who move through the world with significant unearned body privilege. Over the years, we've been trusted with thousands of people's body stories, and I want you to know that many of these body stories are never told, and it is these body stories that inform what we believe.
We believe weight bias, body oppression, and health disparities make caring for the body difficult.
We believe that you are not required to pursue health to be deemed worthy of love and respect and belonging.
And we believe hypervigilance regarding food, weight, and health is harming people in significant and profound ways. Many of us are indoctrinated into a mechanistic thinking about the bodies before we are old enough to consent. As we age, we do spend more time thinking about the body than being in the body and living for and from the body. We believe our bodies are something to be tightly controlled, that thin equals healthy, that one meal or one day of eating has the power to heal or kill us or make us gain or lose weight. We grow up believing that if we just get this calorie in, calorie out equation right, everything else will fall into place. This is an inauthentic and unsustainable way to occupy a body.
Well, I want to ask you, think about it for a moment. When did you learn your body was a problem? And if you were never told your body was a problem, when did you learn that fat bodies are? Because most of our clients tell us that they learned that their body was a problem before the age of 9. And they were told most often by a well-meaning parent or physician. And this moment was the birthplace of body shame, and often the beginning of a lifelong body project, and frequently where disordered eating began. We do have a serious problem with weight in this country, but it's not what we've been taught. The problem is that we've been taught to address people's body size as a primary concern. We have been duped. We've been duped by industries that primarily make money off of our shame. We are part of a growing community of healthcare providers who are very concerned with the health effects of the war on people's weight. Our work is preceded by fat activists and queer activists and women of color who have dared, really dared, to say that their bodies matter, that they belong, when the culture only wants to condemn and pathologize and silence them. Sonia Renee Taylor, who is the founder of The Body Is Not an Apology, calls this body terrorism. The thing is, we live in a culture of domination, and in that culture there is a hierarchy of bodies. Bodies are political. People live at complex intersections of size and class and race, ethnicity, ability, gender identity, sexuality. Our bodies exist in systems that value and legitimize some of them over others, and this fuels and feeds not only popular opinion, but our research communities. This is a social justice issue.
The medical community describes people's bodies using pathologizing language based in the body mass index, or BMI. The BMI was developed by a statistician in the 19th century to look at the distribution of weight across a population of people. He never intended for this formula to be used to assess an individual's weight, an individual's body, or to assess a person's health and well-being. You will never hear us use the O words to describe people's bodies. Instead, you will hear us say things like larger-bodied people, people at the higher end of the weight spectrum, higher body weight people, or even fat people. Since the 1970s, fat activists have been advocating for the reclamation of the word fat, to strip it of its negative, pejorative connotations and make it a neutral body descriptor, just like the words short and tall. The truth is that the evidence that having a higher body weight increases the risk of morbidity and mortality is incomplete and contradictory at best. And there is no weight loss program on the market currently that leads to sustained weight loss at 5 and 10 years out. None. Most programs and plans do lead to weight loss in the short term, but the most consistent effect of weight loss at 2 years is weight gain.
So what we need to be saying, and what I'm saying to my children all the time, is that bodies come in all shapes and sizes. There have always been fat people, and there always will be fat people. It is not our job to eradicate them. Now, at this point in our talk, you may be kind of sorting through everything you think you know about fatness and about having body fat. And what I'd really like you to consider is, why am I so committed to believing this about people's bodies? And how is it helping? Because our current ideology is not helping anyone.
When we dehumanize large bodies, when we call them wrong, disgusting, lazy, and disease-prone, not only are we inaccurate, we cause harm. Our children are listening. Size-based bullying is rampant in schoolyards and on playgrounds. And just this week, an 11-year-old girl committed suicide because she was being teased about the size of her body. If we're really, truly honest with ourselves, are we as a society hustling for health, or are we hustling for worthiness?
Because our current beliefs are limiting people's access to their own health and well-being. People in larger bodies do not have the same opportunities for work and for earning money and for non-stigmatizing healthcare and for basic respect. And one of our teachers, Deb Burgard, recently said, healthcare is outsourcing itself to the dieting industry. Physicians are withholding medical care for people in larger bodies, the same interventions they would recommend to someone in a smaller body, because they're recommending weight loss first, and we know it doesn't work. When we value thinness, we harm people. Marilyn Wan has famously said, the only thing anyone can diagnose by looking at a fat person is their own level of prejudice towards fat people. And so, to escape all this body shame, people turn towards this very repetitive, predictable pattern that we call the cycle.
Many of you likely relate to this cycle as you look at it. This cycle begins with a desire to change the size, shape, or weight of the body. We make a plan and enter into a honeymoon phase where we start to dream about what life is going to be like when the big reveal comes. We feel in control. We feel a sense of willpower. We likely are experiencing that it's working and that our bodies may be losing weight. And yet our bodies respond negatively to food restriction and dietary restraint. And the plans we often make in pursuit of health under the guise of weight loss are often not flexible enough to deal with what our lives are really like and what life throws our way. So we swing from this rigidity and perfectionism over to the screw it plan. Many of you relate to the screw it plan. When our plans fail, we think there's something wrong with us, that we can't be trusted with food, that we need to have more rules and more structure. We need outside experts to tell us what, when, and how much to eat, and that we just need to try harder. There is a $70 billion industry with zero data to support it that depends on you blaming yourselves and returning to them for more. We're pretty sure that if you could have hated your body into one that you loved, you would have arrived long ago. This cycle gives rise to the dieting mind. When I was new out of school as a dietitian working in the traditional weight paradigm, I believed that I was promoting healthy lifestyles. I did not think I was promoting dieting because I knew dieting didn't work. And when I started to feel unethical in my work and become disillusioned, I discovered the idea of a dieting mind. Many of the people that we serve in our work believe that they gave up dieting years ago, only to discover this mindset and realize that they've been dieting this whole time. The weight loss industry is aware that the word diet has become a 4-letter word in this world, and they are repackaging their offerings and rebranding while still colluding with the dieting mind. It is this very mindset that doesn't work. We cannot heal our relationship with food and body while trying to control the size and shape of our body. We can heal when we shift our focus to body trust.
So what is body trust? What does it look like in practice? Thinking about what body trust is requires our imagination. We have to be able to envision what it would be like if we weren't born into a culture that's so weight obsessed. But maybe you know a toddler or like a 1-year-old and how they occupy their bodies. I mean, they know when they're hungry and they know when they're full and they know when to stop eating because their body tells them. And, you know, they just don't really wonder what they're eating, what they're eating is going to do to their bodies. And we don't either, not much. They are willing to strap themselves into a swimsuit and not worry a thing about their butt and their bellies and their thighs. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at what body trust is. Body trust, I imagine you're getting the impression, is a pretty radical revisioning of what it means to occupy and care for a body in a culture steeped in weight bias. It is a way out of this predictive, boring, demoralizing pattern of diet and weight cycling.
Body trust is a homecoming. We are habituated to leave the body, to exit the body. And body trust invites us to return to the innate wisdom of the body, to become reacquainted with our body's messages and cues, our hungers, our desires, our fullness, our rhythms.
Body trust is also a reclamation. It's a reclamation of something you should have had access to this whole time. It's a reclamation of pleasure and of knowing and of being able to listen to your body. It's a process of reclaiming all the things that were lost when all the harm was done from dieting and trying to fix your body.
Reclaiming body trust takes time and practice. This is not a new plan, a gimmick, or a short-term solution. Body trust is a way to truly heal. And body trust is a birthright. We do this work because we'd love to preserve body trust in the next generation of kids.
It's truly possible. So we want to make some recommendations for a path forward together. The first thing you can do is to stop investing in a failed paradigm. Stop blaming yourself. We're having a crisis of imagination about weight and health in this country, and there are many providers just like us who are offering a path to freedom.
Do your work to challenge internalized fatphobia. Blaming bodies has never produced a more inclusive or healthy society. If you do not check your weight bias, you're part of the problem.
Decenter weight is your focus. Consider all the ways you might be body checking. It's all that comparing and scrutinizing and weighing and measuring. When we let go of that, life gets a little better.
Reject the dieting mind and start to turn towards your body and look and listen with kindness and curiosity. Give yourself permission for guilt-free pleasure.
Do things for and with your body instead of to and on your body. And root your self-care practices in weight neutrality, which are always far more sustainable. And finally, let this be your guiding question. If you woke up tomorrow and lived in a weight-inclusive, body-affirming world where you never had to be worried about being judged about your body again, what would you want to do to take care of yourself? Trust that first answer.
We want you to know that we trust you, that we trust your bodies, and we trust you with your body. And if you've lost trust with your body, it makes sense that you're a little skeptical right now, and we want you to know that we reclaim trust like we do in any relationship where trust is lost, through tiny, consistent acts over time. We need people who are willing to say, I will no longer participate in this form of oppression.
So envision your freedom with us. Assume that it's for you and for everybody else here. Let the softness come. Show it to us. This will be a radical conversation in the current paradigm. But for those of us who really, really hunger for truth and can intuit a path to freedom, this could be a truly ecstatic unveiling.
Let's all go first, together.
Thank you.
Thank you.